Hey everyone, welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel. I tell you what, it is a crazy, crazy world. Now, what are we going to talk about on this madness, this Monday madness type of day? Well, anything you guys want to talk about. I'm back, you're back, we're all back. Let's talk about the world, folks. I'm going to start with some of my stuff. Get your questions down below. Mr. Uman's in the house, and he's going to get your questions ready for the second half of the show. Now, Trump has confirmed that he is going on Joe Rogan's podcast. What does that mean for you and me? Not a whole lot, right? So who listens to Joe Rogan's podcast? Well, I guess about 100 million people worldwide. I'm sure the percentage of Americans that listen to his very American opinion, the percentage of that in Americans is probably pretty high. I wouldn't be surprised if it was 75%. So 75 million Americans. Probably half of them are Democrats and half of them are Republicans. So what he's doing, I think, is he's actually, Trump, is kind of targeting new voters, people who can be persuaded because of Joe Rogan, right? Anyways, I do want him to keep continuing to talk to these other people the same way he's kept lines of communication up with, well, everybody, right? Minorities, whites, city folks, country folks, everyone. He's continued to communicate. Now, I think that the Joe Rogan audience, though, is interesting because I would say that formerly sleeping and entitled not Republicans, but Republicans. I kind of coined that, Republicans. They have now seen all of these young Republicans. They have seen what Democrats want to do to them, what Democrats want to give them, what Democrats are going to take from them. And I think these Republicans realize they're better off with Trump and earning their own way and keeping what they are. And I think that they're starting to figure it out. So Trump going on all of these, just blasting into all markets, is intelligent, right? I tell these Republicans, hey, welcome to adulthood and welcome to fighting communism. And that little thought there reminded me of this Sam Kinison piece.
Well, I didn't know you wanted to get involved with the discussion, Mr. Helper. But since you want to help, maybe you can help me, okay? You remember that thing we had about 30 years ago called that Korean conflict? Yeah, where we failed to achieve victory. How come we didn't cross the 38th parallel and push those rice eaters back to the Great Wall of China and take the Berkeley brick and nuke them back into the fucking Stone Age River? How come? Tell me why? Say it! Say it!
All right, I'll say it. Because Truman was too much of a pussy wimp to let MacArthur go in there and blow out those commie bastards.
Good answer.
Rodney Dangerfield isn't much of a Republican, but, you know, it's time to say it. Say it. Stop being weak, right? We've all got to stop being weak and start saying what needs to be said. Being afraid has never helped anyone. Being afraid of what other people think, well, all you're going to do is try and please other people then. Oh, good crazy, folks. Good. Just what a crazy world. What do you want to talk about? Get it down below. The Democrats are continuing to lose. And the reason I am focusing on politics so much, can anyone guess? Well, could it be because in 3 weeks, folks, count them, 1, 2, 3, uno, dos, tres, un, deux, trois, right? We've got the most important single election, not just of our lifetimes, but in American history. In the history of the world that loves the idea of freedom. 3 weeks. We've got one party that says they want to take your rights, all of them, including your right to worship and believe in God as you will. They want you to worship government. They want you to worship Gaia. They want you to worship climate change, right? They want to take your free speech. They want to tell you what to think, how to use your own mind. which is as close as you can get to controlling someone's body as a slave. I said the word there, slave. You do what someone else wants instead of what you want, you're a slave. They want to take the Second Amendment, your ability to defend yourself, your family, your freedom, your country. They want to take all of that from you. On the other hand, we have Trump, who wants to make America first, wants to help our country, wants to return it to greatness. Look, folks, takes months to build a house, takes one match and 1 minute to start a fire that'll burn it down in 1 hour. Democrats have had 4 years, not 1 hour, but the last 4 years. And if you count all the way back to the last time we had a real American president, Ronald Reagan, 1988 was when we had Reagan last, all the way to 2016, we got Trump for 4 years, where he floundered for 4 years. He fought and struggled for 4 years, and he was impeded. He was stonewalled. He was shit on. So, and he still did rather well, all things considered. That's why I'm going to stay in the world of SHTF and politics. Right now, did you know? Everyone been paying attention to what's going on? Well, not in Washington, D.C., not in Ukraine, but right now, the Chinese, for the third time in, I believe, 2 years, the Chinese Navy is off the coast of Taiwan. And it has a blockade. It's not a real blockade. It's a practice blockade. They're not really stopping commercial ships from coming to Taiwan and going. They're just practicing. Well, you know what that does? It scares the hell out of merchants. Merchants won't leave port. Merchants won't come into port. In other words, this practice blockade actually has the same effect. They're not blockading. They're not invading. They're not fighting. They're not bombing. But they could. And a lot of, shall we say, geopolitical and military analysts are saying China is waiting for the U.S. to stumble. And they want to know who is going to be the next president before they make their next move. So SHTF World War III with China and Taiwan, it's waiting to see what happens on this election. So you and I have a chance to fight. We have a chance to fight for freedom for America, to dissuade aggression around the world. We do. We have that fight. We're ready for it. It's coming. Now, here's another fight. Well, there's a CNN, right? Clinton News Network panel. They were disgusted. They were upset. They had audible, oh my gosh, you can't say that moment, because they had a panelist. They had a panelist named Scott Jennings, and he explained to them why Democrats do not appeal to men. And I thought, is it really that hard to understand? Really? So let me ask you all this. Do you really think masculine men like being insulted by man-hating women? Man-hating fruitcakes? Just man-haters in general? White man-haters? Black man? No. Does anyone in the Democrat Party expect real men to tolerate being attacked? And then will those men, after they're attacked, instantly give up their own opinions and adopt the policies of self-destruction that feminism and Democrats offer? I mean, do Democrats really, do they think liberal women are going to make real men weak and kiss their asses and then give up their freedoms? For what? Right? This is what I think America is learning. I know I learned it. I know you know all about it. But I think these other Americans, including the Republicans, I think the Republicans are realizing every time that the Democrats and fruitcakes make a demand and you give in, they demand even more. There's a lot of hope right now for Gen Z. There's a lot of hope for the generation, I think, coming after that. I think they're even calling them the alphas. Someone correct me on that if possible. But yeah, they're seeing just as kids. And I'll tell you what, kids know. Kids know what is fair, what is right and wrong. Kids know. Put 2 plates down in front of 2 of your kids. One of them have some peas and corn. The other one have a candy bar. And see how the kid with peas and corn reacts to the one getting the candy bar. Right? They're going to go, hey, that's not fair. I want what they've got. Right? And then you can play other games with kids and go, okay, who wants to do dishes after dinner? One of the kids will say no. If you can get any of your kids to say yes, have them do the dishes, bring all the kids up and say, okay, who did the dishes? And they'll all point to the one kid, right? Give them a candy bar. Here you go. Here's your reward. The other kids will be like, I want a candy bar. You go, hey, that's communism. Candy bar, the reward goes to those who work the hardest. You know, it's just simple fucking lessons. But CNN, they're shocked. They don't understand. Why would real men, real masculine men, conservative men, why are they having a hard time choking down an American hating, freedom hating, gun hating whore of a bitch? Why would they reject that? All right, man, can you hear me? The video appears to be stopped. Is it stopped on your end? Yeah, I tell you. As soon as I call her a whore, this is what happens. All right. Every freaking time. I'm gonna do what am I gonna do? I don't even know what I'm gonna do. I'll just keep talking. Fuck it. Right. The scrolling headline across the bottom is going. Today is Columbus Day, by the way. It's Columbus Day. And at least you guys can hear me. It's Columbus Day, and Kamala Harris is celebrating Columbus Day with us. You bet she is. Oh, yes, you bet she is. She celebrated Columbus Day by attacking Western civilization. You notice they never call the African nations 300, 400, 500 years ago. They don't call them a civilization. When the conquistadors, when the travelers, no. Let's not call them European conquistadors. Let's call them asylum seekers. Yeah. The pilgrims and white people that came to America were asylum seekers. Do they refer to the indigenous peoples? Do they refer to them as the indigenous civilization? No, they do not. They're not the indigenous civilization, right? They're the indigenous peoples, the indigenous tribes, but they're certainly not a civilization. She says, but this is what Kamala said with her attack on our Western civilization. She said, quote, European explorers ushered in a wave of devastation, violence, stealing land, and widespread disease. That's our great vice president who wants to be the president. That's her. I tell you, she's a special one. But I have a question. I always like to ask questions, and you guys can come up with your own, shall we say, thoughts on the matter. Does Kamala realize that the great warriors, the indigenous peoples, were known and thought of, and they talked of themselves as great warriors? And I'll tell you what, for that aspect, I give them kudos, right? They're great warriors. But does she realize that these great warriors of the Americas were only called warriors because they routinely slaughtered one another in tribal wars? Both great and small in scale, little wars and huge wars. That's why they were warriors. They're always slaughtering each other. And they fought over land, right? She says that the white man stole the land. Well, surprise, they fought over land and hunting grounds, aka resources. And the tribal warriors, they kidnapped women from other tribes and either took them with them or just raped them, aka also known as human trafficking. These indigenous tribes used mind-altering plants for escapism, aka recreational drug sales, use, and abuse. They started forest fires intentionally to drive their enemies away, aka terrorism, and environmental destructionism. Anyone else notice similarities here? Anyone else note that Western civilization, while not completely innocent, was just better at doing a lot of these things than the indigenous peoples, right? And now, having moved into the 20th century and now the 21st century, anyone else note that Western civilization has given to the world a more comfortable, civilized concept we should all enjoy together? And it's called freedom and capitalism. But, you know, now they're trying to move away from that. These Democrats, they want to go back to just plain old law of the jungle. Hey, well, man, I'm gonna reset my camera here. I'll be right back. No, I won't. It's not letting me loose. They have tied up my computer all together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have to. Can you put a question on the screen and see if that goes up? Let's see if that works. Okay, so there it is. I'm here live, folks. And when we get to questions, we'll do questions. But speaking of Kamala and her idiocy, she got caught in a major plagiarism scandal. She stole several different works, including Wikipedia, to write her book. Plagiarizing. Well, I'll tell you what. At this point, I'm gonna play the Hillary Clinton there. What difference does it make at this point? Biden was disqualified as a presidential candidate, not in 2020, but 40 years ago for plagiarism, for lying. And Biden has continued to lie about everything he's done, everywhere he has been, every job he has had, and every event that has occurred. Right? And the mainstream media, they don't care. Right? Kamala lies like a cheap whore on a rug. So why would Democrats or their voters or mainstream media care about what she wrote and what she plagiarized? At this point, it really is up to you and me, us, to set the world straight. But I say, don't let this plagiarism be another non-issue that the mainstream media ignores. Spread the word via text message, email, flaming arrow messages, right? X Twitter posts, so no one can say they didn't know. I mean, every time something bad happens, I'm out here and I'm like, and I'll ask someone, didn't you hear about that? And they're like, no, I never heard of that. I go, how could you not hear about that? How could you not hear about that? And they're like, well, we just didn't hear about it. Well, make sure that no one has that excuse. Everyone needs to know how evil Democrats are. They do. Biden, Kamala, Clinton's, Obama's, everyone needs to know. Everyone needs to know. Now, Time Magazine, one more thing. The owner of Time Magazine is now going after Kamala. CNN today is basically given up on her. NBC is basically given up on her. Hell, even Saturday Night Live. They're actually trying to be funny now, and they're making fun of Kamala and Biden. Not in a nice way. They've crapped all over her. Well, now the owner of Time Magazine is crapping on Kamala Harris because she turned down an interview request. Right? The whore says Trump is hiding while he is everywhere publicly. Seriously. He does 1 to 3 rallies a day, plus interviews. And she can't speak without a teleprompter, Kamala. And she avoids real questions. Right? I think you and we all understand what the hell is going on. Right? We've got a lot of craziness. The question I have for you is, are you prepared? Are you prepared? I mean, it's crazy. Even hardcore left-wingers are now wondering why they're Democrats. For example, a very liberal journalist who was on the Young Turks. Longtime liberal. In fact, you've got to be a screaming, stinking socialist, practically, a card-carrying commie to work for the Young Turks, which is a left-wing social media shit pot of crap. Anyway, she's gone on an interview and given out the disgusting details of an incident that occurred to her. And she is being attacked by Democrats for talking about it, right? So if a Democrat isn't literally 100% retarded, they can have a reality check moment, especially when crime directly affects them. So this lady that was part of the Young Turks, Anna Kasparian, she was walking her dog when two white homeless type men were paying attention to her, and it kind of made her leery, made her nervous. But she was walking her dog. She was trying to be a good little Democrat and just let them be. So she was picking up the dog poop and bent over, right? And one of the men snuck up on her with a boner and started to sexually assault her, humping on her. And she was horrified by it, right? So this is her quote. Quote, "As I was bending down to pick up my dog's mess, one of the guys grabbed me by the hips. He had an erection, and he just started humping me, and I didn't know what to do. I was terrified." That's incredible. Let's see, if you're being dry humped by a dude with a boner who grabs you on the street, how do you say you don't know what to do? You stand up and turn around and clobber the dude and fight, and then run. You scream rape, something. She didn't know what to do. I was terrified, she says. What a fucking moron. So she reported this incident to the audience of her social media show, The Young Turks, right? She was called racist. She was called mean. She's uncaring for picking on these homeless people. Racist, even though they were white, and she didn't reveal their color. They still called her racist. So now, this Trump-hating moron, she has no political party, because now she's like, well, Democrats, they hate on anyone they can over anything, and so Democrats hate her. Right? Sorry, Tootsie, you made your bed by voting for Democrats for decades. Now you can lie in your bed. You can listen to the attacks and ignorance and stupidity from your own supporters now that they've turned on you. And so the moral of the story is a lot of Democrats are learning the hard way that Democrat illegal invaders and soft on crime policy is going to make life hell for them. Crazy world, a crazy world. Okay, great example of the 3 Fs. I thought it was fight or flight. You got 3 of them: fight, flight, flee, or freeze. And she froze. What a dumbass. What a Thanks, man. Hey, I can't talk. It's not helping. Hey, man, do me a favor. See if you can pull me off the screen while you're on it. See if that changes anything. So, now it's your show. I'm dead. Dead, I tell you.
That just went from bad to worse.
Shit, out of the frying pan into the fire. Broadcasting from the dark side of the moon, John here with the Prepared Mind channel.
What if we try playing what if we try playing Kinnison again and see if that changes anything?
Oh, yeah, that'll change. I can't. My mouse is froze. The screen is froze. I have no control over my computer whatsoever.
Really? Okay.
Yep. So,
do you want to maybe exit this? Oh, wait, you have no control of your computer altogether?
Yeah. I would have to do a hard fucking reset, man. Control alternate reset, right? And start again. And that'll take me 5 fucking minutes. So
do you want to maybe do that when we transition over, play the transition, and then
go over to the right side up at the top and pick one of those thumbnails that covers the screen. I got one that says Zero Dark 30, and then the Prepared Mind logo, and then the Statue of Liberty thumbnail up at the top. I'm under brand, not comments or banners.
Oh, under brand. Okay, I was looking under banners. Brand.
You scroll down a little and pick a that'll do it. Okay, we'll roll with that. We'll roll with that.
Oh, it's not Christmas yet. Jeez. Hold on. Man. Here we go.
Okay, we're looking good. Look, Santa John here, the Prepared Mind channel, Monday Madness. Good golly. I'm going to continue. We'll roll with this. So, all right. Vivian, did you hear what Vivian said today?
No.
Vivian's the daughter of filmmaker, director Stanley Kubrick. So Vivian Kubrick, she wanted her opinion to be known about President Trump using footage from the movie Full Metal Jacket in his campaign video. And the video that Trump did shows a difference between weak, woke military and, of course, the old school stuff. So she had an opinion. And at first I thought, oh, Vivian there, she's going to pull some sort of Hollywood leftist bullshit and complain. Instead, she actually complimented the use of it. She said, quote, on this tooth and claw planet, you need a very strong military. So I'm going to stick to the idea that Full Metal Jacket footage was used primarily because of its powerful, realistic portrayal of boot camp, juxtaposed with the entire demoralizing and inappropriate injection of woke ideology into the USA military. I found that to be a very interesting quote. And I say that, look, no doubt the anti-war statement made by Kubrick's film, Full Metal Jacket, is 100% pertinent in this situation. And, I'm an anti-war person myself. Former Marine, but anti-war. But here's the deal, right? A weak and woke military encourages aggression by our enemies, and the whole world ends up suffering for it. Or we can go the other way and say brave men become warriors, right? They join the military. They suffer the hardships of training and risk their lives in protection of the world. Right, so you see Full Metal Jacket, where Lee Ermey is the drill instructor, the gunny, right? He's a mean bastard, and he punches and kicks and trains these people, right? And so then I ask, what do you prefer, right? Do you prefer Marines made the proper way, right, or sissies in uniform inviting violence against us all? I would rather have alpha males, strong, who get their asses kicked in boot camp to make them better warriors than these soft, pink-haired fruitcakes. Anyways, I noticed you're still on there, man. You got an opinion on this?
Well, that's the way it's been throughout history, right? I mean, except for in Mel Brooks movies, there were no sissy Roman warriors and stuff like that.
Not even in History of the World Part 1. Even those Roman warriors were tough. And speaking of sissies, right, the real men, I would show you quotation marks, but, the screen's kind of fucked up. Real men in this totally cringe Kamala Harris ad, that was made by not real men. They're liberal actors and liberal producers that made this real men vote for Kamala Harris, right? Well, these liberal actors actually hate America. They hate us. I don't know why anybody would be inspired by this commercial to want to vote for Kamala. It's crazy.
Then they dragged out that one actress from the 80s or something, and she was oozing all about how there's nothing hotter than a white man for Kamala.
Okay. Not buying it. Not buying it.
No. I can't even remember her name. It was so long ago. Didn't even look familiar.
Well, there's plenty of that. I'll tell you what, man, let's switch over to the, we're a half hour into the show. Let's switch over to questions from the live audience. It's not a studio audience. It's a live social media audience. You can only get there if you're at thepreparedmind.club or subscribestar.com.
I got a suggestion from Mikey G here. He said, try hitting Control Escape.
He's trying to crash my computer is what he's doing. Okay, that did absolutely nothing.
Okay.
I'm not going to worry about it, man.
We're grasping at straws
more
here,
shit in front of my screen. What's that?
We're grasping at straws here, so.
I'm not worried about it. Let's finish the show up with questions, and then you can hit the end stream, and it'll play the outro, and we're done for the day. But I'm telling you, we're not done. It's 24/7 SHTF light at the moment. So who wants to be up first, Mr. Uman? Who's there?
Well, right before the start of the show, we started talking about this question here, so I thought I'd put that up for you to comment on.
So, yeah, you said, what does everyone think Elon Musk's angle is with, X, Twitter, free speech, and all this support for Trump is, right? What's his angle? And you say you're not sure he's doing it for us out of the goodness of his heart. And that you're questioning his motivation. And I do as well. I question the motivation of anyone who's rich. We are discussing investments, trading before the show as well. And I said, we try and make good decisions in life on how to make money, how to preserve money, how to expand our wealth. And these billionaires that are out there trying to help us, supposedly on social media, I think they don't really give a shit about us and that they're concerned about themselves first. Right? They'll tell us what to do after they've already positioned themselves and then use social media to increase their gains. So when we look at Elon Musk, well, what's his angle? That was your question. What's his angle? Well, I think that Elon Musk is first and foremost concerned about his life, his power, his wealth. He doesn't want to lose it. And I think he sees within the globalist, shall we say, agenda. I think he sees himself being destroyed by them. As wealthy as I know Elon Musk is, there are more wealthy and far more powerful men out there. And back before he endorsed Trump, apparently there were a few attempts on Elon Musk's life. So I think he realizes that he's a target, that he's not loved by everyone. And so he's got to pick a side. He's got to pick a side. And I think he's choosing free speech, liberty, America, because he saw what and understand, like the rest of us, the wealth generation, the quality of life that freedom gave America, that those freedoms, liberties, our Constitution, our Bill of Rights made America a place where people can live well. And I think he understands that the more rules, regulations, and infringements on our liberties, the less any of us are capable and able to protect ourselves from abuse of government. And that any government that becomes very powerful and authoritarian can take anyone else's wealth and power anytime they want. I think he understands that. I think he fears that. And I also think that, well, if he protects everyone's freedoms, if he supports Trump, if he wants to make America great again, it will benefit him. It'll benefit him directly. So why not support freedom and liberty? I mean, even others like Bill Ackman, who is a Democrat supporter. He's a huge hedge fund billionaire, but Bill Ackman is now supporting Trump because he doesn't want, this anti-Semitic, I believe Bill Ackman's Jewish. He doesn't like the totalitarian stance and the loss of liberty that he sees could hurt him. Anyways, I think Elon Musk is, yes, looking out for himself. That's his angle. He wants to
Well, it's
enrich
kind of,
himself, but at the same time, I think he realizes he can't do that unless we're all free. So I think he's
it's just,
landed on the good side of things, Mr. Uman.
I just find it kind of peculiar that he decided to go so hard against the government that he's subsidizing, or that is subsidizing so much of his business, whether it's Tesla or SpaceX or Neuralink. You know,
Right.
it would seem like the timing is kind of off. Like maybe he realized too late that Trump didn't get back in, and now all of a sudden he's got to get behind Trump to get back what ground he lost, or I don't know. I just think the timing of everything is kind of strange.
Yeah. Oh, it's definitely a strange timing event, right? It's I think we're on like a razor's edge. Does the pendulum keep swinging towards absolute destruction of liberty and freedom, or can it go the other way? I think he sees that if it goes to full authoritarianism, he could have all of his patents stolen. Right? It's not beyond a socialist government to just take people's property, for the public good. And if the government can just confiscate Russia's wealth, what would stop them from confiscating anyone else's? Right? It's a big club, and even Elon Musk is worried about whether or not he's in it. It's interesting.
Yeah, well, Paul Andriatis, and I apologize, Paul, if I'm pronouncing that wrong, he had another angle on this.
He says maybe Elon's really against the powers that be after his son has been taken by the LGBTQ minor attracted pedophiles, and he is pissed and fighting them now. Yeah, that is a really good point, Paul. I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah, Elon Musk, one of his children, is now an LGBT tranny fruitcake. Do you think Elon Musk is happy about that? I'm sure Elon Musk knows he's a male, right? He's created children with a female. He didn't just go and buy them off the internet. So yeah, he's seen the destruction that woke, liberal, socialist ideology does. And I'm sure he has been threatened by possibly his son or his daughter's teacher, right? Teacher, the school, possibly attorneys, other family members that think it's fucking cute. That if, Elon Musk didn't allow his kid to do this and make this decision, which of course is with undue influence from others. But let's just take a look at some of the celebrities out there. How many celebrities have you seen with straight children, Mr. Uman?
Fewer and fewer.
I have seen dozens of Hollywood celebrities with gender-bending children.
Yeah, who's the one that has 3 tranny sons?
Fuck, I can't remember. I can't remember. But they appear with the mom, the woman.
Right. What are the odds of that? I mean, okay, the percent of the population of this garbage is less than a fraction of a percent. And
right.
All 3 of yours you're telling me that's nature, not nurture?
Right. That's not mom convincing them they need to be. That's not everybody just showering them with bullshit affection and approval. And then anytime a child of one of these fruitcake leftists, anytime one of these children, right, even start to ask, what's that all about? They're applauded for asking and congratulated on saying, yeah, I want to be a girl. It's ridiculous. The whole thing is out of control. And Elon Musk may be really pissed. He may be really pissed because once your kid goes the wrong way, it's hard. They get sold. They get brain fucked by liberals. I know because I am dealing with it in my life continuously. Family members that are complete fucking idiots who believe anything Democrats say and are afraid of contradicting the hypocrisy of the left and standing up for their own rights. Thank you, Paul, very much. Man, great topic, man. And a good counter idea concept by Paul there to discuss. Yeah. Once you're pissed off, it's kind of hard to quiet you down. At least that's how it is with me. I was fine,
Yeah.
folks. I was fine until someone pissed me off back in 2013.
Hey, man, we all did stupid stuff when we were kids, but none of the stupid that we did couldn't be reversed.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Drinking beer on a country road wasn't the same as chopping my dick off if I had made that move.
Exactly. I mean, you can't go back and turn that around. I mean, you can't grow your hair back or cut your hair off or stop wearing that earring and let that hole close. I mean, you could always dye your hair back or let your hair grow back to the normal color, but Jesus Christ.
Crazy world, man. Crazy world. All right. Well, what are the other topics we have out there?
All right. We got Badass Diving Frog.
All right,
Let's talk
Mr.
about
Diving
banks.
Frog. He says, it's come to my attention that the central banks and the regional banks are battling each other. The Rothschilds want total of 5, the regionals. Well, I tell you what. Banking, what a weird thing. You got each country has its own bank, its own central bank. And within every country, there's, several regional banks and big banks. But there's actually a World Bank. I'm not talking about the one called the World Bank, but like the central bank for central banks called the Bank of International Settlements. And it's a complete screw job, all of it, in my opinion, because we don't have money. We have currency. And the distinction between currency and money is money is a unit of exchange that everyone accepts and retains its value and is divisible, right? And currency is what we use as a medium of exchange. But the U.S. dollar, for example, or the Federal Reserve note, the dollar, it doesn't maintain and store value. It loses value anywhere from what the Federal Reserve wants 2% inflation. That means 2% of the value is lost. That makes it a currency because it is a unit of exchange, but it's not money in the true sense. So yeah, they want to get us into not just paper currency, but they want us completely away from anything physical that you hold. And so they want these digital currencies, these central bank digital currencies, the CBDCs. And so here we are, right? The banks are battling. People want freedom and liberty. They want to preserve their wealth, but it's a shit show. I don't know who's going to win, man. I don't know.
Badass added a little.
It's a strange kind of show.
Badass added a little trailer to that comment here. So
the Rothschilds want to control, and the small guys said "fuck you" and "fuck this spell check shit." Yeah. The Rothschilds want control. Anyone in the banking system wants control. Go on the internet and look up Federal Reserve Bank. Who owns the Federal Reserve Bank? Right? And you'll find out what banks own that and that they are not American. And it may or may not tell you it's the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers. They may or may not tell you different names of aristocratic families, royalty, and essentially the royals or the kings and queens, right? The aristocrats, they're wanting control of the planet back. They've given us, 200 plus years of freedom and liberty, self-governance, and they're tired. They're no longer a target of the people. They believe we have, as people, forgotten all about the horrors and terrifying treatment that they gave us. The people that fled to America fled the fucking King of England and the kings and the prelates and all of these aristocrats in Europe. They wanted to get the fuck away from them, so they did. Right? They treated people like shit. They'd starve them, send them to war, get them killed, murder them. The aristocrats, the super rich, the royals, they think they're better than us and that we are just mere cattle to them. right? We're peasants, pissants, if you will. So that's the bankers. That's who owns the banks. You think you might own the bank because you have a couple of bank stocks, but don't worry, they'll fuck you out of those too, one way or the other. Oh, what a world, folks. Yeah, it's all about control. It's all about wealth. It's all about power. And the rich people want it back. They want it back. And they're convincing us through political parties to choose self-destruction, right? Democrat policies are self-destructive, whether it's the woke DEI fruit salad, LGB policy, which says destroy yourself, sterilize yourself, kill your babies, or whether we're talking about open border policies, allowing illegals in here from the worst countries on the planet in all civilized nations and destroying those people, weakening us and getting us to fight one another while they pass rules and laws to enrich themselves. And they have governments give them, the banks and the corporations, money, right? That's what the rich are doing. That's what these aristocrats are doing. The Rothschilds of the world, the Rockefellers of the world, the Bill Gateses and Zark Zuckerbergs and Bill, all of these rich bastards. What's their job? To do business with the government, enrich themselves by having the government steal your money and pay them. And here we are. And if you want to use their currency, they'll charge you anywhere with inflation. They'll charge you 2 to 10 to even 20% inflation, a devaluation of your hard work and effort. But gold and silver and many other physical items will preserve your wealth. So that's what that's all about. That's my opinion on that.
All right. Ready for the next topic?
I'm ready for the next topic. Yeah, my camera's still froze on this end. Nothing's helping it. What do you got, man? Who's out there?
We got Chin Music in the house.
It's Chin Music. And he says, liberal women are only good for one thing. I have to look away from the screen and think about what this could be. I'm thinking, Chin, what is it that liberal women are good for? A doorstops, a sea anchor, garbage disposal. All right, let's see what he says. He says they'll do all the things the good girls won't do. He says the problem is finding one cute enough for it to be mutually beneficial. Oh, I tell you what, Chin, I'll let you do all of the, shall we say, critical research on this subject matter. I won't get anywhere near these liberal women. They are caustic. They are toxic. They're dangerous. I can't tell you. Every time I identify one of them, it scares me because they're so full of hatred. And they don't scare me like I'm afraid I'm going to get my ass kicked. I'm afraid that they'll contaminate me with their vile thinking. But they'll do all the things the good girls won't do. That's funny. But yeah, they usually look like that Jabba the Hutt chick. But once again, I'll wait for your report on that one. Woo! Scary business.
My ears would burn and my head would explode before I got to do the experimenting part.
Oh, it hurts the brain just to even contemplate the thoughts they have. Can you imagine? I mean, do this, right? Imagine going on a date with Kamala Harris and having to listen to her. How long could you make it?
Not very.
Not very long.
Maybe 5 minutes.
I mean, never mind the cackling and the ridiculousness, but what about just the screeching voice, the incomprehensibly stupid comments? It'd be horrifying. Literally horrifying.
Yeah, the lack of logic and reasoning and reasonableness and everything else. My engineering brain would explode.
I guess to get to the all the things the good girls won't do, you've got to pay a price. There's no free lunch.
That price ain't worth paying, my friend.
Yeah, I think what Chin Music, what men need to do is invite these liberal women out on a date, sit down for dinner, eat your dinner, tolerate the bullshit that comes out of their mouth. As soon as you're done eating, excuse yourself and say you need to go to the bathroom, and then walk out the front door, get in your car, and drive very fast, and leave the liberal chick to pay the bill. And then say, send them a message, send them a text. How do you like socialism now? Right? Yeah, we both went for dinner, but I'm going to give you the bill to pay for it, because that's, as a Republican, how I feel about everything that goes on the planet. Right? I drive across a bridge. I know I paid for my portion of that bridge. Every Democrat, nope. They, every welfare case, they're not paying for shit.
But they're still using them.
Oh yeah. All right, man. Thanks, Chin. Who's up next, man? What else have we got? We got less than 10 minutes.
All right, let's see.
I got all kinds of stuff
back
on
with
my
another
list.
one here.
Oh, let's do this. Yeah, John, Mr. Diving Fraud says the sheriff of Wicomico County in Maryland, he said he will not follow the new gun laws. Now he's being accused of being forceful. Forceful at what? So he's not going to follow the new gun laws. What are the new gun laws in Maryland? I don't think there's gun laws that force you to own a gun. My guess is they have some new gun law restrictions.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the new laws are either, and forceful may have been changed by autofill or something. I'm really not sure what he was trying to get at there. I'm
sick of it. I'm sick of the auto correction stuff. I even insulted fruitcakes out there, fruit salad shooters, so bad on X, Twitter. I did several posts today, and I want to get that rolling as well, so we get our message of prepping out there. But they told me that I was being too much of a bully using hate speech against flaming homos. So the censorship out there, right? It's still out there. Anyways, as far as gun laws go, the sheriff is the highest elected official at the county level. And I find it fascinating that liberals hate the fact that sheriffs will not enforce their laws, but they want to steal everyone else's rights and violate the Constitution. They expect law enforcement, police, and sheriff's deputies to enforce their laws. But I think the courts have long held the concept that nobody is bound to enforce nor obey an unconstitutional law or statute or rule or ordinance, etc. The older I get, the more I think Thomas Jefferson was right about needing a revolution every 20 years just to make sure everyone understands where we should start with a foundation level understanding. Oh, good golly. I mean, speaking of guns, did you see the picture of Elmer Fudd set up right next to Tim Walz?
Well, I saw the one where they took a Elmer Fudd cartoon and put Walson Wall's face on it.
Right. Okay.
Very quiet.
Be very quiet. Right. This guy has no idea how to hold a shotgun. So now the meme videos out today are various shooting enthusiasts showing him how it's done, and just right there's so many people out there that are competent, skilled with rifles, shotguns, handguns. And then you take someone like Tim Walz, who talked a big game and said he's a hunter and he knows what he's doing with guns. You watch him. I think that is most Democrats out there. They think that they watched a war movie. So now they know how to handle a weapon safely and properly. They know how to shoot. They don't. One of the Prepared Mind audience members got some tactical shooting training. And I recommend everyone do that. Go to a range, learn how to shoot, from a professional, an expert, whatever you want to call them, and get proficient. Because how do I phrase this properly? Right? In a one-on-one, a 1-versus-1 situation, and you're both equally skilled, your odds of winning is 50-50, right? But if the person you're coming up against is unskilled, a Tim Walz type idiot, your odds of winning in that situation are really good. In fact, you could take on 5 or 6 or defend your family against an entire, barrage of idiots if you know what you're doing and they continue to not. Anyways, enough on that topic. Get training, folks. I think it's a great idea. Wow.
All right. There are a couple other stories in the news today that I found kind of odd that I think I wanted to cover here today.
Yeah, throw them up there, man. What do we got?
Here's the first one.
The sheriff, first the sheriff shoots the judge over his minor daughter. Now another dad kills a man found who had kidnapped his 14-year-old daughter. 2 incidents within a couple weeks. Odd coincidence. This whole idea that it's okay to meet up with young folks. This didn't happen during Trump's presidency. I mean, I know that the child molestation, pedophilia was a problem back then, but the Democrats have pretended that it's now normal, it's now acceptable, and they're getting away with it. They're not being prosecuted, right? So they're acting as if it is legal. And so we're having more and more incidents of it, and we're starting to see enough people affected by it that many fathers are going to take this next step and deliver justice. So just a normal dad, and then another one is the actual sheriff, not just a deputy, but the sheriff. So I think the left-wing lunatics actually believe it's okay to molest children. I think that they're hoping that they're going to win and they can continue in that fashion. It's crazy business. I also think that the Jim Jones juice is really fucking their brains up. I really believe that all of these clots that people get from taking the Jim Jones juice are getting stuck in their brain and killing portions of their brain. And, I don't know any other way to explain it other than they are already sick and perverted, but they're acting on their perversions. Right.
I just found it odd that both of these stories made it into the headlines a couple weeks apart, and why are the mainstream media promoting these stories? I mean, is there some other kind of message trying to be sent here or something?
I don't know. What's your best guess on that? What could the message be?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't have time to see what outlets were really promoting this, and are they telling people that, if this happens, this is what you need to do? Or I don't know. It's just odd. I mean, I'm sure these things happen more often than we know about, but the fact that 2 of them made the headlines within a couple of weeks of each other just struck me as odd.
Yeah. I know that, I mostly peruse right-wing social media type sites. There's only so much liberalism I can take in a day. And so I'm going to be more prone to seeing these types of stories. But did you see either of these incidents on mainstream media like CNN or MSNBC?
Yeah, well, here, I could tell you this one was put out by U.S. News, the most recent one here. I mean, that was in my Apple News feed. And it was actually through the Fox News thing. I don't know if it was on the main one.
Interesting. Well, it's going to continue, man. I tell you what, the show is now officially over.
Wait, I had one other odd news thing.
Oh, do you? Okay.
Did you see anything about this?
Unknown UAPs. I thought UAPs were unidentified aerial phenomena like UFO.
Yes.
Okay, so it was either UAPs, either UFOs or drones breached the Virginia military base for 17 straight days. I've missed that. I've missed it.
Yeah, that was in the headlines today as well. I mean, we're hearing about this now after this happened for 17 days in a row, and none of the stories I saw about this seemed to indicate anything about them trying to shoot them down.
Very interesting. Yeah, no idea about that. When I try and get news on the UFO alien stuff, I try and listen to Richard Dolan, Dolan, who seems to be relatively got his head on his shoulders properly. He's not a ridiculous idiot. He's more of a trained academic on the subject. But I don't know, man. It's a weird ass world. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I was just wondering if you'd heard anything more about that. That just popped up on my news this afternoon when I was looking at lunchtime.
Yeah, I can't contribute anything positive with respect to that news story.
Well, we'll look into it and see if we can find anything else about it tonight and maybe address it tomorrow if we can find anything.
I kind of like that idea, amigo.
All right. Well, I'll let you do the close now.
Oh, well, I can't do anything. You got to hit that in stream button on the upper right and close us out. Everyone, thanks for showing up, and I'll be back.